Meetings, emails, team chats, and an endless list of things to do. Sometimes it's hard to focus on what's actually going to make an impact at work. And since becoming a digital hermit is probably not an option available to most of us, we need concrete strategies in order to focus in a world that is obviously designed to distract us. And if you feel like you're constantly busy, but you're getting nowhere, then there is a very good chance that your schedule is running you instead of you running your schedule. Enter time blocking. Now, time blocking is exactly what it sounds like. You basically take your day and you chop it up into blocks of time. Each block of time is then dedicated to either a single task or a group of tasks. And tackling your time this way means that you're not just faced with an endless stream of tasks and a list that you try to get to when you can. You actually will start your day off with a plan. So what makes this different from just using a regular calendar? Well, most of us tend to only put appointments that we have with other people onto our calendar. We put in meetings and we put in appointments like dentist appointments and doctor's appointments. But time blocking actually treats the tasks that you have to do like an appointment that you're keeping with yourself. And it's just as important as that appointment with your boss. So for example, you might want to block 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. for meetings. You could then say 10 a.m. till midday is when you're going to do some deep work and focus on that project that you really want to make progress on. Midday to 1 o'clock might be your lunch break, and then from 1 o'clock onwards, you might want to batch your meetings together. But Cal Newport, the author of Deep Work, puts it perfectly, and I'm going to read it so I don't butcher it. He says, a 40-hour time-blocked work week produces the same amount of output as a 60-plus hour work week pursued without structure. And I would agree with Cal. As someone who has tried both strategies, time blocking definitely beats winging it. So why is time blocking so effective? Well, I'm going to share 3 main reasons. Well, first of all, it promotes what Cal Newport calls deep work, which is when you schedule a block of time to single focus on one important thing. It means that you bring all of your attention to bear down on that one task instead of spreading your attention thin across multiple things. And the more you practice single tasking, the stronger your focus becomes. Secondly, it makes you brutally aware of how long tasks actually take. It's something that we as humans are terrible at, is knowing exactly how long tasks take. And psychologists actually have a term for this. It's called the planning fallacy. So time blocking actually forces you to take an honest look at your priorities, because anytime something new comes in, you have to find a physical slot of time in your calendar that you can tackle that work. So suddenly, saying yes to things feels a little bit more real. And number 3 is that it helps you to actually follow through on your goals, because research shows us that people who allocate a specific time and a date and a task to the thing that they want to accomplish are way more likely to actually get it done. Big intentions like, I'll work on that project next week, don't often come to fruition, or at least not in the way we hope they will. And so when you say, I will work on this specific project on Monday from 10 a.m. till 12 p.m, you give yourself a much stronger chance of actually following through. So if you're ready to try it, here is a streamlined 4-step process that is going to help you follow along with what we actually recommend in the Todoist time blocking guide. Now, this is a fairly lengthy article that I would link in the description box below in case you want a little bit more help after this video. Step number 1 is to list and estimate. Spend some time listing out everything that you want to get done this week, and then put an estimated time next to it for how long you think the task will take. If you're not sure, this seems extra, but it is actually a pretty good tactic, and I've done it myself. If you're not sure, just spend a week tracking how long things take you, and it will give you invaluable data for whenever it comes time to start your time blocking. Step number 2 is to prioritize and batch. If you have identified your tasks, you will then be able to see which ones are truly important and which ones aren't. If you need a little bit of help getting to know what the difference is between those, then I would recommend checking out our Eisenhower Matrix video, which I will link above. But basically, you want to figure out what you need to do first, what takes true priority. And then you can categorize your tasks into similar different groupings. So maybe you've got a category for emails, or you've got a category for meetings or admin. And then you can block together time for these things that are very similar and require very similar tools and bandwidth in order to be able to do them. And that just makes your calendar blocking so much easier because you've not got little tiny tasks, you've got chunks of time that you're going to dedicate to similar tasks. This is called task batching. We're also going to have a video coming up on this one if it's not out already. If it is out, I will make sure that it is linked down below. Step number 3 is to actually block your time. Now you can use any number of tools to do this. You can use good old pen and paper, you can do it in your Google Calendar or your Outlook calendar. You could even link those with Todoist. Now, personally, I believe that the king of all systems, and I genuinely do mean this, is to do your time blocking in Todoist because that's where your tasks live. So if you have Todoist paid plan, you can use the calendar layout and do this really, really simply. You basically have a task, you give it a date and a due time and a duration, and then that will populate in your calendar layout. That will show you what it looks like within Todoist. So you can link Todoist with your calendar, which is going to populate all of your appointments and meetings and different things that you have scheduled in your calendar. And then you get to time block your tasks in and around those commitments. Personally, I find this invaluable. You can choose to categorize your tasks with labels within Todoist if you want as well, and that just makes things a little more neater. And one of my personal favorite things about this is that you can drag and drop very simply across all of your devices. You can do it on your mobile, on your tablet, and on your computer itself. So it makes it incredibly simple to keep up with the ever-moving things that happen throughout our days that can sometimes throw our plans off track. Which brings us to step number 4, which is to follow, reflect, and adapt. And basically, that means you follow the plan. And if the plan ain't planning and you got to change things around, then you reflect and you change what you have to, move your time blocks. You know, maybe you have a kid that gets sick or someone drops a meeting in your calendar that you weren't necessarily expecting. I hope they don't do that because that's just rude. But if they do, you can adjust accordingly. And then at the end of each day or each week, you can reflect on what you had planned, how it went, what you needed to change, and it helps you spot any kind of trouble areas. Maybe there are tasks that you've allotted an hour and a half to, and they actually take 3 hours. It is very possible for me, that is video editing. And that is the real power of time blocking. It allows you to have clarity over what you expect to do with your time throughout the week, and then the control to adjust it as you need to. And it also just gives you momentum. I find that whenever I have things time blocked, I am much more likely to follow through on my plans. Okay, now this is a bit of a juicy section. We're going to talk about the mistakes that people make with time blocking and how you can avoid them. Mistake number 1. Now, I've already mentioned it in this video, but I'm gonna say it again. Underestimating how long things actually take. We all think we can squeeze in just one more thing into those time blocks, but oftentimes it's better to just allocate yourself some buffer time, maybe towards the end of the day, and then that time can be used to either accomplish some bonus tasks or maybe add a little bit of extra rest. Or it gets used to mop up the spillover of any tasks that actually take longer than you think. Mistake number 2 is being far too rigid. Once you've got your time blocks in place, they are going to move. Not always, but very often they do. And you gotta be okay with that. Mistake number 3 is turning relaxation into a task. Don't overschedule your downtime. It's quite tempting whenever you get into time blocking to think, oh, I'm, gonna really optimize every minute that I have. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Allow yourself the breathing room to change your mind, and maybe you can block out whole sections of your day or your evening for relaxing. But when you get too prescriptive, it starts to feel a bit more like a chore. Mistake number 4 is not prioritizing effectively. So if every task is urgent, then no task is urgent. It's really important that you get to learn the difference between things that are actually important and things that are just loud. Mistake number 5 is ignoring interruptions. Unless you live in the most idyllic, beautiful desert island, I'm going there in my mind. It's a good chance that you don't though. And life is full of interruptions, so you might as well plan for them. Have a little bit of time in your schedule for reactive mode or for requests from others. Mistake number 6 is wasting your best hours. Learn when you feel most productive and most likely to be able to get into your deep work. If that's between the hours of 9 and 12, don't use those for processing emails, use those for something that's really impactful. Mistake number 7 is not reviewing the plan. So time blocking is one of those things that gets better and better with practice. You will learn exactly how long things take and how you like to work. You'll actually learn quite a lot about yourself through time blocking. It's so important that you take the time to reflect and to tweak and to keep iterating. And I know I recommend this video all the time, but it's one of my favorite videos that we have because it's very close to my heart, and it is our weekly review video. And I will link that above for you now. Now listen, time blocking is not magic. It is not going to solve all your productivity problems, and it's definitely not going to make you superhuman, but it is going to give you a little bit more control over your time and make sure that you're dedicating it to the things that actually matter most to you. The key is to start simple, be flexible, and remember that you are in control of your schedule, not the other way around. Now, if you enjoyed this video, you might like our little mini series that we're doing on time blocking. We've got this video, we've got a task batching video, and a day theming video. So once you're done with this, you might want to go and check out the other two. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you could give us a thumbs up, that would be great. Really helps us to understand what you are enjoying and what you're not. And then maybe even consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Schedule. Is that a Belfast thing? Schedule. Since becoming a digital hermit is hermit? It's a very fancy way of saying hermit. Step. How many fingers? Okay. Blah, 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 blah.